folks. Thanks for joining me in the brewery. Tasting day on this fella. What is it, you ask? This is the Easy Extract American Wheat Ale. This is the beer I brewed with the grandkids helping me. Back on the 5th of August. Doesn't seem that bloody long ago that I brewed this beer, but 2 months. Bloody time's been flying. Anyway, I'll stick a link up to Brew Day. And I said, yeah, this is the second of the Easy Extract brews, the partial mash recipes I've been playing around with. New sort of process I'm playing with that's come out of the Twang files. As realistically, I'm really liking the idea and really be hoping that this is a method I think that a lot of brewers will swing around to as a way of making really good beer with minimal equipment. Yeah, with not a lot of extra effort made from doing a kickie. But anyway, that's all talked about in the Brew Day vids, and I'll leave a link up the very first video, first Brew Day, which was the New Zealand Pale Ale. Anyway, this be her. This is as close as I can get to a decent wheat glass in the brewery. It's a nice clean beer. It's clear. It's decently carbonated. This is a non-nucleated glass, but it's showing some nice rising bubbles. Good head, which you'd certainly be hoping for from a wheat ale. But anyway, let's just have a quick run through the ingredients. Okay, so grain-wise was 800 grams of a mix of various base malts and some wheat that just to throw together stuff I had. Reality, you could use any typical pale ale malt and get a good result. That was steeped for 30 minutes, 68 degrees. It was then boiled for 30 minutes with 30 grams of Bodacious Hops. New hops I've not tried before, courtesy of Kev Bristol, the hopping mechanism. Thumbs up to Kev. He's the man to get your hops from. Link down the bottom. After the boil, added the dry malts, topped up with a bit of water into the fermenter. I haven't written here what the actual fermenter volume is. I'll stick it in here after I've checked it out. Fermented with US-05 at 16 degrees for 9 days, at which point I dropped another 30 grams of Bodacious in dry, let it sit for 2 days, then cold crashed. First day cold crash went down from 16 to 11, and then dropped it down to 2 degrees, held it there for 2 days, kegged up 9 litres of beer. 9 litres of that fella. Original gravity 1052, final gravity 1008, so I've dropped nicely. Again, that 590 grams of dex, it's a good dex hit, so it certainly keeps the body down and gets that good good attenuation. Fucking fuck off. 5.7% ABV in the keg. That's straight up, that's with no priming. The nose is very light. There's very light hint of that wheaty bubblegum note you can get, but it's nowhere near as strong as like a typical wheat beer would be. Obviously not using a wheat yeast. it's not driving that sort of flavour and that smell as much as it certainly could. And again, American wheat ale, it's just a standard ale. It's not a wheat beer in the traditional, German sense. Doesn't use, it uses the typical clean American yeast, generally a USA 5, the Chico strain, to keep it nice and clean. So it's not driving yeasty esters, it's not driving big tartness from the wheat. It's a light ale body with some wheat coming over the top. And there's no big expressions as a result. It's a lovely beer on the mouth, it really is. For 1008, it's surprisingly well-rounded and well-bodied. Like it's not big-bodied by any stretch, but it's not as light as you'd expect it to be down at that level. Especially having come from, from 1052, it's a good attenuation. So you could almost expect it to be getting a little bit thin, but there's no hint of thinness at all. There's no real drive from the wheat and the flavour. There's a little bit of that soft wheat body. You can feel that sort of little bit of that fluffiness you get. There's a little bit of tartness, but again, it's only quite little. It's not overpowering. It's not the driving flavour. There's a nice softness coming from the hop. And I've had a couple of glasses of this before today, and every time I have trouble pinpointing a hop flavour or what the presence is. It's had a decent dry hop, and you can certainly taste that hop involvement, but it does. Flavour-wise, it's just not really pushing out a lot. It's quite subtle. It's nice, but it's not leaning like there's no citrus, there's no berry, there's no stone fruit, there's no pine or resins, or it's just this sort of soft, lightly sweet, smooth, and sort of almost warm sort of a flavour going on. That's an interesting way of describing it, but that's how it feels. But it's a really approachable beer. It's really quite drinkable. As it is, I think it's lacking just a little bit of bitterness. And again, I said it's a 30-minute boil, so probably not enough to really start driving into the bitter range. I don't think Audacious particularly pushed as a bittering hop. It is more a flavour and aroma hop. So it's not going to drive a lot of things. It's only 5.9% alpha acid, so it's quite low. It's a very soft hop, so it takes a lot to get some bitterness out of it. So it'd certainly be interesting to see where that works out if you were to really push it hard. But the dry hop is certainly delivering a nice presence. It was probably a little bit more pronounced when this beer was a little bit younger. As I said, it's been kegged now for 6 weeks. So it's tailing off a little bit, but it hasn't dropped a real lot. Overall, I think as far as the overall beer goes, I think using a higher acid hop in the boil would have been a better option. Yeah, a Magnum, something that's, yeah, drive much higher AA, get some clean, good bitterness in there, then let the hops roll in down the back. I think it's the only thing that's really missing. And as I said, that sweetness coming from the hops and that little bit of malt is playing more because there isn't that bitterness up front. If there was a bit more bite at the start, that sweetness certainly wouldn't be as noticeable. It would cut against it and it would settle. As it is, as you can see, it's the beer. I've got no problem slapping it down. It's very enjoyable. But yeah, that's sort of, realistically for me, it's the only thing I would be changing, would be getting a little bit more bitterness in. I said this was an issue I had with this method. And again, I've discussed it on previous videos about how much issue is going to be getting that bitterness in with the shortened amount of time. But I think it can be worked with. But as it stands, but yeah, that's another winner for the easy extract method. Yeah, it needs some work, but let me tell you, I don't like your chances of getting that quality of a beer, that clean, that fresh tasting, using any sort of tin extract. And that's exactly what this method's about. You know, good quality beer without those weird flavours, without the twang that you get from kits, with minimal effort. So anyway, that's guys. Got any comments or any questions? Stick them down the bottom as always. Patrons of the channel, guys, thank you for your support. Link down the bottom to Patreon. So it's Patreon that lets me do all this, lets me play around and do this sort of experimenting. Without Patreon, this channel really doesn't go anywhere. It just becomes me drinking beer. Hang on, might not be much more than that anyway. But anyway, if you subscribe to the channel, thank you very much. If you aren't subscribed, hit the link below, ring the bell, get notified when there's a video, don't miss anything. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. But everybody, cheers and thank you. Shall I see you on the next video when we're brewing beer, drinking beer, or talking beer? Good brewing.